Hi everybody, it is Miss Kaiser, and today I'm going to show you how to make a self-portrait, a realistic self-portrait. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you have a mirror or a picture of yourself. You want to be looking at yourself when you make a self-portrait because you're drawing you, not just some random person. Once you have a picture of yourself or a mirror that you're looking at, here's how to put down the basic shapes for your self-portrait. So you're going to start with the shape of your head. And the shape of your head is kind of like an oval. I like to say upside down egg because it's a little bit more narrow at the bottom for your chin. See how you could kind of imagine that as an upside down egg? And you're going to notice that I'm drawing really lightly. And I'm also kind of drawing this shape more than once, and that can help to make sure that it's really the shape I want before I draw it a little darker. So I have my upside down egg shape, and then I'm also gonna start out adding my neck and shoulders in here, just so that I know where the whole self-portrait is gonna be. So your neck is a little wider than you think it is probably. People usually do the neck right here, all tiny. But if you look in the mirror, you'll see that your neck really comes down kind of close to your ears. It's pretty wide. So you can make a curved line on one side and a curved line on the other side. Again, really light. And then, depending on what kind of shirt you're wearing, there will probably be a neckline here. And you can draw your shoulders, and your shoulders are gonna go off the page. If you're making the self-portrait as big as I am, which is how we usually make self-portraits, they don't have to be, but you usually have your whole face, your neck, and a little bit of your shoulders. Your shoulders don't end right here. They're actually gonna go in a curved line right off the page. And right now it might look like I'm some linebacker or something, but once I add in the details, these proportions are gonna make more sense. Trust me. So speaking of proportions, it's important if you want a realistic self-portrait to think really carefully about where everything on your face goes, how far down, so that it all makes sense together. So one trick that artists use is to draw a line down the middle and a line across the middle. So when I say the middle, like the middle this way, the middle that way, so you have like a big plus sign. And you are gonna put your eyes on this middle line. We think that our eyes are up at the top of our face, but they're not. That's your forehead. Your eyes are halfway down your face. And you can see that. You can even take a ruler and measure. If you don't believe me, your eyes are halfway down your face. Everybody's are. So I'm not gonna draw them in yet. I actually like, and this will make the eyes make more sense, I kind of like to draw in a little bit of my hair before I start with the eyes. Because your hair comes up off of your head. And I'm looking in the mirror to see where my hair falls. I have the ears here. I'm not going to put them in yet, but I can kind of indicate where they're going to be. And I'm not drawing all the details of my hair. When I said I'm going to draw my hair, I just meant a tiny, tiny bit. Just show where it is. Really lightly, really quickly. And that way you're kind of starting to get an idea of what the whole portrait will look like, right? It's starting to make more sense together. So now I can start adding in the features. So you're gonna split this line into a few different parts. So the most important parts are your eyes and the space between your eyes. And those are kind of even. So I might use this distance right now, the distance of my, between my thumb knuckle and the end of my thumb, to figure out, okay, so my eye is gonna be just about there. I'll make little marks. And then between my eyes, gonna be the same distance, and then my other eye is gonna be just about there. That'll work for you if you're using this size paper, this like computer paper. If you're using a different kind of paper, you'll have to use something else, but just make sure those 3 spaces are the same size, the same width. And this one is gonna be one eye, This one is going to be the other eye, and in the middle is going to be empty. And then for your nose, you're going to draw another line in between your chin and the line for the eyes. So let's draw a line about here. You don't need to use a ruler, just estimate. And if the line isn't perfectly straight, that doesn't matter either. You're just giving yourself a guide. These are guidelines. And you're drawing these lines really, really light because they're guidelines. You're going to erase them at the end. So if you draw dark, you won't be able to erase them well enough. And this line is where the nose will end. So I can draw right now kind of a stretched out U shape, and that is the bottom of my nose. And then now this part, the nose is tricky and it'll depend on your nose. So you really have to look in the mirror, but most of us have kind of a stretched out U shape, like I said, and then our nostrils come up out of that stretched out U. Mine is a little less stretched out than that. I'm gonna make it a little narrower. And then the outside of your nostril is like a little parenthesis mark outside of the inside. And you don't have to color those in really dark right now. This is just the beginning. You might change them later, but you can kind of do just the idea of where everything is gonna go. I think that looks like a nose. I don't think it really looks like my nose, so I would probably adjust that later. Looks like somebody else's nose. Now for the mouth, I'm gonna draw another guideline between this one and my chin. Right here. And this line is gonna be for the middle of your mouth. And that means there's going to be one lip above and one lip below. I'll show you how to do each of those. And again, this is going to be different for all of you because everybody's facial features look different. I'm just giving you an idea and you'll adjust it for your own face. The width of your mouth is going to be about below your pupil. So the middle of your eye is going to be your pupil. We haven't drawn it in yet. And I'm just drawing an imaginary line down to find where the edge of my mouth is. Same thing on this side. This is going to be my pupil, drawing an imaginary line down, find the edge of your mouth. This looks really creepy so far, right? It's going to turn into something normal, I promise. So now the top lip, everybody's lip is different. You might have a top lip that's just like that without kind of a dip. Most people have a little bit of a dip at the top. So you can think of this shape like a big stretched out M, right? For a cartoon character, it might be exaggerated like that, right? But all of these would turn into a mouth. So you choose the shape that best matches your lips. I have, I think, a little bit of a dip, not huge. Something like that. And then for the bottom, it's mostly the same for everybody. It's just a stretched out curved line. And then the middle is either straight or there might be a little more of a dip here. And now right now I look very serious. If you want to draw yourself smiling, you can. You just need to smile into the mirror and draw what you see. So you'll have to probably bring this line a little bit more curved, this top lip a little bit more straight, and you can start to draw yourself smiling. If you want to draw yourself wearing a mask, again, I would recommend putting on a face mask and draw what you see. You'll probably have a line coming down, up over your nose, and back down, and then the straps that connect to your ear. Now for the eyes, you're gonna draw kind of like an almond shape. So a curve for the top that connects at the corners and then a curve for the bottom. Eyes have corners, so you do not want to draw this situation for your eye. That's an oval, there's no corners, and it ends up looking kind of creepy, right? That's a good cartoon eye. It's not great for a realistic self-portrait. You want your eye to have corners. And then you have an upper eyelid. So you can draw one line inside the eye and a lower eyelid. Same thing on this one. And on the inside, you're going to have a circle that's the iris, the colorful part of your eye, and then a smaller circle inside that's the pupil, the black part of your eye. And later when you're coloring those in, if you leave a little bit of white right here, just gives the person a little bit more life, because it looks like there's a reflection in the eye. If you look in the mirror, you'll see that there is a reflection in your eye in real life. So now it's starting to come together, right? There's one important thing missing, eyebrows. Looks a little creepy without the eyebrows. Everybody's eyebrows are a totally different shape, so I can't tell you what shape your eyebrows are, but I can tell you that a trick for drawing eyebrows is to draw the individual hairs. So instead of just drawing a line like this, again, that's good for a cartoon, but for a realistic portrait, eyebrows are made up of hair. So if you draw each little line, it will look much more realistic. I'm drawing them pretty light for now. You can always go back and make something darker, but you can't go back and make it lighter. So it's good to start light and then make everything much darker at the end when you're really sure where everything is going to go. Right now it's still light, so if I decide, actually that eyebrow is too low, I can erase it and move it. Okay, and now once you have these basics down, this is like basically a face, right? I don't think it looks very much like me yet, and that's okay, because I do think it looks like a person. I think it looks like a pretty realistic person. I just have to make it look more like me. So at this point, I would look in the mirror and figure out, well, what doesn't look like me? Well, the shape of my face is a little bit different. It kind of goes in here, out for my cheeks. Same on the other side, in here, out for my cheeks. And, okay, I was talking about before, I think this nose is a little somebody else's nose. So let's try again with that. I think my nose is a little bit more like a circular shape. It's a little bit more narrow. That's another way to draw a nose. You decide which one looks more like your nose and you can copy that strategy. Most of us also have a shadow at the side of our nose, so you can also start to add in some value, some places where there's light and dark areas. A lot of us also have dark areas underneath our eyes. That will make it look more realistic. And everybody has a shadow under their chin too, because your chin sticks out and it blocks some of the light. So unless you have a big flashlight shining up from below your face, you're gonna have a shadow, not on your chin here, but under your chin on your neck. And maybe also on the sides of your neck to show that your neck is round, that it curves back into space. Okay, what else can I do to make it look more like me? Let's see. Well, my hair right now looks blonde. That doesn't look like me at all. So let's try to add in a little bit more definition of the hair, a little bit more value on the hair. Now, curly hair is hard to draw. It is a challenge. You really have to look at each curl and you try to draw a few of the curls. You're not going to draw every single curl. Please don't. It would take your whole life. But you can draw a few of the curls that kind of stick out. So I'm noticing in the mirror, okay, I see that curl sticking out, so I'm going to try to draw the shape I see. And what you don't want to do is this situation, because it just looks like a scribble. But if your hair is really, really curly, then notice the pattern of the curls. It might be kind of like a really tight curl like that. Well, then do that a few times. But that's a pattern instead of just, yeah, it looks like a cartoon here. So my hair has a pattern to the curl. It's kind of like this, right? You could draw like 6s for one curl and then backward 6s for another curl. And you can see how, like, I won't take your time drawing all of these, but you can see how it would start to look like a person with curly hair. And once you have the idea in, then you can do some scribbly stuff in the background of the hair. Because again, you're definitely not going to draw every single piece of hair.